Shout out to our sponsors at IconBet. Open source, decentralized gaming, no deposits, play straight from your wallet. IconBet, made by the players, for the players. Ion Icon is proudly supported by Icon Nation and the Icon community. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ion Icon, the episode where we go around the Icon ecosystem and talk to our builders. And I have someone who's been on the show before, Alex from vibravid, and along with him is Ted. Alex, how are you today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm happy to be back. Hopefully this time my voice sounds good. I know last time I sounded like a real deep voice on the podcast, so now people can hear how I sound naturally. So
yeah, very deep, still very deep. It's good. Good to have you back, Alex. Now, I'm not going to ask Alex, the intros and stuff. He's been on the show before, definitely when they were building vibravid. He came on and briefed us all about it.
Yep.
But I am going to throw it to Ted, who is first time on the show. Ted, tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, how you connected with vibravid. Keen to hear your tale.
Yeah. Hey guys. Thanks for having me on Ion Icon. so, so I'm a senior software engineer. So I've already been with multiple of companies. So some from Silicon Valley, some from Australia. So mostly I've been working on like front end and also dealing some back end stuff also. So oh, when I first worked with the vibravid team since May, and then from there on out, it's been like an opening thing for me for blockchain because I never had experience with blockchain before. So it really got me excited with the blockchain. So I started working on Tron, then worked with Icon with the last CPS, and now we're building on Wax also. So it's kind of big. There's a lot going on in vibravid, and sometimes we have a problem like, hey, uh, how are we gonna build all of these? But I'm so excited to build all of them. So it's just the time that's you're gonna allocate for those projects. Yeah. So what I love with Icon is like when I first saw it, like documentation's very well. I mean, everything's well documented in the Icon dev site. Then blockchain is really easy to understand from their point of view. So unlike other other documentations, like it was really hard for me to get the grasp on it. But when I worked with Icon with a previous CPS, it's just really straightforward. And I think that's kudos to all the Icon devs out there. Yeah, I guess that's it. I hope.
Yeah,
I hope that's
that
fine.
That's great. Thank you, Ted. And yeah, so Ted is the guy who gets everyone arranged and the builders and stuff in the background for Alex and Co, especially when they're kicking off new ventures or doing any upgrades to Vibe, which is what who Alex is. In case I didn't really cover it off, so thank you for coming on the show again, Alex. And I know this time we're here to talk about the decks. And especially if you're listening to this now, if you didn't know it already, the decks did go through a round of proposal for funding, and there was a bit of feedback your team got. So we're going to come back to that. But I thought,
Yep.
let's get you on the show. Let's get you to talk about what you're trying to build. What is the second piece you're trying to build on Icon, and why you've chosen this. But before we dive into that, Alex, I'm keen to hear about vibravid. Can you give us a bit of a refresh on where it's at, what changes? I believe it's evolved a lot compared to when the original you went for funding originally. So where it's at, what it's evolved to, when are we looking to launch it? Keen to hear a bit about that.
Yeah. So we've made many pivots throughout the months, but when it came to our CPS proposal, everything got finished in adequate time period, and it was very simple, and it proved to work. So we're not too far away, like as far as like a relaunch of the actual platform. But like Ted was saying, we've got a lot on our plate. But the good thing is, like once Ted kind of dived into blockchain, he just took off running, and then all the developers we have, from the newer ones to the more experienced ones, Ted's providing good leadership and guidance to them, so they're doing really good. Also, we've managed to establish some good relationships in kind of bringing the vibravid experience into one big thing. So it's not just the streaming platform. It's NFTs, it's gaming, and it's streaming. So we just finished a NFT collection that we're going to be launching, and soon we'll implement that on Wax as well. So that's another future project that we'll have ready. And it should lead to kind of future collaboration with BTP, and I'm super excited about that. So while I want to say that the platform is almost ready, like you can go on there and you can see the platform and everything, but it's probably going to take us a little while longer. Wallets, everything is still good, so you can still set up your wallet and everything, but the changes that we're going to make, it's going to make us very strong overall.
I think, Alex, I realized, can you give it a bit of an elevator pitch of what the platform is? Now, I mean, the end goal that you're leading to, give us that elevator pitch of what vibravid is.
Yeah, so vibravid is a music video streaming platform combined with other metaverse GameFi aspects, such as NFTs and gaming, with the crypto concept that is keen to the noobs in the crypto space, where they can easily set up their wallet and still be in a decentralized atmosphere, be able to interact with dApps, and pretty much just dive into the crypto field, whether you're new or experienced. So we've got a lot going on in regards to how to display the platform, how to scale it, and we're actually considering something very fresh, a whole new approach that can make us completely different from any of our competitors in the space. Because you've got your like Cost TV and your Odyssey and BitChute and stuff like that, and we're talking about lower cost, less ability for bad actors and pirated content to find its way on there, and incentive for existing YouTubers. So
Alex, are you going to drop some alpha right now? Is this what's happening? Like, am I going to get an exclusive right now?
We can't say, because we still have to make sure. Sometimes Ted and I and Steve, we get too excited because we're like, oh, we could do this, and then like 2 days later, we're like, wait, we can't do this. But it's funny because this all came about due to a vulnerability in the streaming that can cost us a lot of money. Because we're a startup, right? and costs are very important. So it could really be a blessing in the grand scheme of things in regards to keeping a platform that's low cost and high potential.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a platform that NFTs, streaming, gaming, game streaming, normal streaming, actually hosting videos, content, stuff like that. It's kind of an all-in-one platform that you're building, and it's going to have cross-chain support in terms of the way your bounties and things can work on the platform. Will support different assets, not just Tron. Icon will be integrated into it as well. Have I kind of given it a very
I almost completely forgot about one of the most important things. It's the ability to market yourself as a content creator, and that's our bounties, which I talked about on the last podcast, where you can essentially pay to have guaranteed marketing. For example, you watch a video or you listen to a song, you offer some ICX, some Tron, some Beatscoin, whatever it is, and they have to sit through the entire content and consume it in order to earn that reward. So it's kind of like a basic attention token, like a bat, but in for streaming and video and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool. Okay, great. That's good. And I've had the picture screenshot of what it's going to look like and being worked
That's
on.
our wallet, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. But today is all about coming back to, it's about the decks. So you've chosen to build a deck. Yes. You've chosen to build the decks next. Why have you chosen to build the decks?
Okay, because I use the decks all the time, especially in order book. I started out trading a lot with Tron, and we really enjoyed building something within the Icon ecosystem. And while Icon currently has an AMM decks, which are great, there's no order book DEX in the ecosystem. So this combined with the future of BTP is the reason why we have planned the building of an order book DEX. Where in the future we can bring on new chains and cross trade very easily.
Yeah. Cool. No, that's great. Okay, so tell us why this is different. And this is a funny point because before AMMs came in, this was all that existed. Like Ether Delta, and there was a few others, and there were terrible UI experiences. But if you wanted to trade decentralized in a decentralized way, those were the only ways to interact and get those, ICO tokens that were going to make you billions. But
Right.
and never eventuated. So tell us what's different about this DEX. How does it work? How's liquidity? Just give us the
Yeah. Yeah.
basics.
Yeah, so you've got Tron Trade pulled up there, and I asked you to pull that up because so you can get an idea of how the decks will look like, and we'll have multiple pairings to ICX and stable coins and things like that. So there's nothing overly fancy with an order book exchange, but it's much more simpler and traditional of an approach than that some just prefer, right? So both have its pros and cons. I'm not here to tell you that an order book exchange is better than an AMM. I'm just here to tell you, hey, we need both of these, at least one of each in the ecosystem, because it's growing and it's important for Icon to lead the way with more DApps, and that's the way it's going to keep growing because more people are saying, oh, I got an order book exchange too. I can go ahead and place my tokens on there and trade on there. It's just important to note that. So with AMM, let's start with that. You have to deposit funds into a pool, right? An equal amount of liquidity per token needs to be supplied. So like if you're putting $100 worth of ICX and $100 worth of stable currency, it would have to be supplied, right? So while like you have to supply both. So while it does a good job to stimulate liquidity, you do face the risk of impermanent loss. When both the tokens you've deposited lose value. So some people just don't want to deal with that. They have one token, they have either ICX or they have the other token. They want to place an order at a specific amount and trade it for that much. And if the order there is to match, then it's easy,
Mm.
very easy way to trade. And on AMM, like you can't really set a price where you want to sell. It's just kind of like wait and see. And with order book, I can add and remove orders as I please, and I can watch to see what orders are filling and then go from there.
Yeah. So I guess the key difference is two things. This idea of liquidity, AMM to function, an AMM needs liquidity, right? And a lot of it so that the price doesn't slip per trade. And this is where this DEX differentiates from it because it doesn't need liquidity. What it needs is people. Like if I have my balance token and I believe it's at $10, I want to sell it and take profit. At the moment, when I look at an AMM, I can't. I have to look at the current price and kind of just sell it there. I can't set a future order. But in a DEX,
Right.
I can kind of come into the order book and go, you know what? I know it's a shot, but I'm going to just leave it at $10 selling and put some, sales on for my tokens. And that's where there's the big difference. You don't need a ton of liquidity there because it's order book. So then if someone comes to buy, they will look at it and purchase it if they're willing to pay that price. I think that's
Yeah, no, you nailed it on the head.
yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Like it's not, yes, sometimes dexes don't have as much liquidity, but you bring in the people and then the people bring the liquidity and the orders and the trading. It's great. It's great to have at least one of those on the ecosystem, just like it's great to have your AMMs as well.
Yeah. Agree. And again, to bring it back, like it's basically your traditional exchange like Binance and things like that. It's created that system, but it has no central entity. It's not you don't need
Yeah.
KYC or anything like that. You literally through your wallet, connect your wallet and can trade from it. And kind of the platform is kind of a UI interface that creates this traditional exchange environment for you to look at and place orders and stuff. But in the background, it's wallets executing based on when um, uh, I guess those sells and
When
buys have hit.
are met. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You nailed it. You nailed it,
Yeah.
man.
Done. Okay. Thanks for coming on, guys. Okay, great. So then, from a UI point of view, do you plan to bring anything new to the table to enhance the platform's usability? So this is Tron. This is what you're basically trying to copy and bring across to Icon. But are you making some tweaks?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Our key factor here is ease of use, right? So like you can't go that fancy on just a regular order book exchange, without making things complicated, and that's the last thing we want to do. So I'll let Ted speak more to like the plans for the UI, but definitely we want to make sure user experience is good and that we have protections. Like for example, fat finger mistakes. Like say you want to buy something for one ICX and you accidentally put an extra zero. The system will tell you, hey, you're trying to pay 10 times more for this.
Oh yeah.
Check your order, make sure you really want to do that. So we want to protect the users as much as we possibly can, and also the ability to connect multiple wallets. I'm really excited to see a future where vibravid wallet not only connects to vibravid but to other dApps like our icon decks.
Yep. Okay, cool. So the vibravid wallet, this is what you've been building as part of your vibravid build, and that is where you've been incorporating other chains wallets into this wallet. So then that wallet can kind of act as a bridge between all the chains, and you can swap between chains assets.
Exactly. So it's a web-based decentralized wallet because you get your keys, you have complete access to it, things are encrypted in there, so you don't have to put your private key every single time you approve a transaction. So it kind of functions like a web extension but you don't have to download anything, and you just use it online. I don't know if Ted, you want to speak a little more to the UI and kind of what we're doing there.
Yeah, so for the UI side, majority of it is inspired on Binance. So that's what I'm targeting to build, but in a decentralized way.
Very ambitious.
Yeah.
What was it before the show? You said, Ted, you want this to be the decentralized Binance?
Yeah.
Great.
Maybe
That's
CZ will
different.
call you up and be like, build another one for us.
Cool. Okay, that's great. So now I think though let's continue on with this and uh, with the CPS proposal. Now I know you proposed various phases, and I thought let's talk through a little bit of what there are three phases as part of the project. So phase one currently, that's what you were proposing to build, and I'm guessing now you're going to tweak it based on revised pricing of ICX. Let's address that. So talk us through a little bit of what happened when you put the proposal through, and how you costed it up, and what are some of your takeaways from it?
Yeah, so this was a really good. I'm not going to say like, I don't want to say anything negative because every experience you can turn into a positive, right? So, unfortunately, the way the CPS is designed, it doesn't let you go back after and alter the proposal. So, like when I was copy pasting, like I missed a whole section of the of kind of like the budget and everything, and then ICX value pumped, and we really overestimated the budget. So I wanted to use that for phase two and so on development, but it was kind of too late to really explain that, as many already had voted, and it kind of set the tone. So it's definitely a learning experience though, because I was able to get feedback on how we can explain things better. And then I was also able to provide feedback to, the CPS team. So they're considering, putting stablecoin as the asset for the CPS. And they're also considering allowing you to change for P-reps to be able to change their vote once, and to also be able to make an edit on the proposal, something like that. So I'm confident the next voting period will be good for sure.
Cool.
Because I've if anything, this has introduced me to more good P reps in the space, and they gave some good feedback. And that's what I like about the icon community. It's very inclusive, very open, very honest. They're not going to be like, nah, we don't like this,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
we
yeah.
don't want this. Who are you? No, it's more like, hey, well, why don't you try doing this? If you do this, then I think we're good for it. And then, that's kind of where we're at now. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Okay,
if
so
you, yeah, sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
No, no. I was just going to say, okay, so then phase one, it says, can we talk through exactly what phase one, at the end of phase one, what kind of functionality will be there versus, I guess, when I look at phase two and see day trading capability, I don't, what does that mean? So coming back to phase one, what exactly will phase one entail?
Okay.
I'll s- okay, yeah, I'll speak to phase one real quick, and then I'll let Ted take over for the rest of it. Phase one, after phase one is done, you can expect to use the website to trade in a decentralized manner with ICX assets and be able to
Okay.
connect your Icon X, Hana, vibravid wallet, whatever Icon wallet that's out there that's popular that's being used. You'll be able to connect it and use it. And from there, yeah, I'll let Ted take over like how
So
phase two functions and phase three.
actually, that's really good. I want to focus on phase one. So phase one is essentially this DEX for the Icon ecosystem, an order book
Mhm.
style DEX for the Icon
Yeah.
ecosystem. And
Yeah.
what about so when it comes to pairs, how exactly will the listing process work? Is it does a pair need to be there on the decks for someone to then go and say, yep, I want to put a sell order or buy order for that particular asset? um,
It's going to
Mm,
be registered on the smart contract, so not anyone could add a pair immediately. So we're
okay.
probably gonna do a registration of listing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, that's really good to know because I know, for example, at the moment, one of the challenges with AMMs, the current AMMs, they don't have the front end done for people. Like, there's a whole bunch of other tokens in the Icon ecosystem, but we have to wait for official listings. And I was trying to see, would we have to wait for a similar process with this style as well, which it appears will be the case. However, I'm guessing it will be able to move far quicker because we don't have to go through the process of, oh, well, how do we incentivize this pool so that people actually provide liquidity so that there's
right.
less slippage? That we just ignore all of that because once it's the pairs there, it's based on an order book and the price is,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah. It'll be just a matter of like more than likely having a conversation with me. Like if you have a project and you say, hey, I want to list my ICX token, you come talk to me and I'll say, okay, tell me about it. I make sure you're legit.
Yeah,
You're not any shady person. I'll probably ask a couple other people in the ecosystem who know them,
yeah,
and then we'll go ahead and list and in good faith, and then
yeah.
yeah,
So
that's pretty much
finally, those KFC tokens I've seen on the Icon tracker, they're going to get listed. Yes.
it.
Uh, okay, okay. So that's real good. That phase one gave me a really good idea. Phase one is the core of
Yeah.
everything, and it will be for the Icon ecosystem. Ted, phase two. Or is there
Yeah.
anything
So
else you want to add to phase one? It's over to you.
phase one is like the complete product already. Then phase two are just enhancement, and phase three also. So for phase two, so this is day trading capability. So the problem with blockchain, it takes time for changes to propagate to every node in the blockchain, right? So you can't technically do day trading like in seconds. Like unlike Binance, you could order and just in milliseconds it's gonna be filled. So it's gonna take time because it's gonna propagate to the blockchain. That's the missing piece of phase
Uh,
one. With
As in
day
verifying the
two,
transactions, right? So
uh-huh,
essentially, put the thing, depending on the chain's block time, it could take like Icon's 2 seconds, but all the chains aren't 2 seconds. So
right.
Right.
and yeah, okay, cool, yep,
Yeah, so for phase two, this is going to be a semi-centralized solution. So we're gonna build a full order book backend. So people could switch. So it's still, we call it semi-decentralized because we don't do KYC. Then you could still use your wallet. You could still use your, Hana, Iconex, or vibravid wallet to sign transactions. But you don't have to go to a sign up process like Binance. Like you have to send your email, give personal details, and there's still going to have a background check or something. You still have the capability of being anonymous, but the transactions are going on a centralized manner. So on our end, we don't know the people trading there. So we just see accounts, we just see addresses. And let's say, for example, this guy ordered a, let's say, 10 ICX to BNUSD, something like that. On our end, on our server side, everything's going to be fast because it's on a centralized way. We just need one confirmation and we automatically swap the tokens. I mean, like fill the order. So that gives a faster approach compared to having like propagating to the entire blockchain. I'm not sure if does that
So,
make sense?
it does. So essentially, is it originally, you put in the wallet order, transaction, and that's
Mhm.
how it works. But what you later on will build is kind of a middle layer where your funds kind of sit in that layer. That way, when someone is actually day trading, it'll instantly doesn't need to cross check and verify on the chain to leave the wallet. It's kind of your custody of the funds so that the transactions can flow quicker, the orders can flow quicker between the
Yeah,
pairs.
yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, cool. So that's where the central entity. So in that case, from your perspective, the key aspect, and that's probably where there's a bit of cost there because you want to make sure that those contracts and things are audited correctly because
yeah.
they'll have custody of funds.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if anyone's listening to this and probably getting worried, this is what happens with AMMs as well, right? Your funds go into the AMM, into the liquidity pool, which is a smart contract on those platforms. So, yeah,
Yeah, well,
just
here's to add to that, Fez, here's where BTP comes in.
mm,
Because once BTP is here, we can convert those into I assets like, ITRX, right? That it'll just be sitting on the Icon chain. And then we add that pair. If it's got enough demand, we add that pair onto the completely decentralized portion of the site, and people can trade there. If they don't have the confidence in the other type, I'm 1,000% decentralized. Well, okay, you trade this I asset. You already know BTP is fully guaranteed, and you could do it that way. So what we're all about is providing options. So you
mm,
literally have every option on the table.
yeah, yeah,
And
Mhm.
yeah, the trades are a little bit different when it's 100% decentralized, but now you've created that, third option that no one really has where you can trade fast and cross chain.
yeah. Okay, so then phase three. Now you've touched on this. I think uh, your phase three of multi-chain integration currently does not involve BTP. And I just want to clear that up because BTP is different and it brings its solution, and then you can utilize BTP to move assets across, which is brilliant. But your phase three is a little bit different. You're kind of leveraging on what you're building with vibravid to bring cross-chain transfers through the wallet integration. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can use your vibravid wallet and all the chains that exist on there to be able to trade easily, or let's say you want to cross chain Tron. I use Tron all the time because that's where we started.
Mm.
You want to trade Tron and ICX. Well, you've got a Hana wallet, you've got a Tron Link wallet. Boom, you can do it because you have both wallets.
Yeah.
Obviously, probably the vibravid one makes a little more sense, but we want to cater to everyone.
Yep. Yep. Cool. Anything, Ted, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think Alex summed it up already.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. I know I spent a bit of time before the podcast. I was trying to understand this, and It's only clicked as we've been talking. Basically, that the reason why you like the vibravid component is that from a UI perspective, it houses all the different chains in that particular wallet rather than using 3, 4 different extensions. It just will interact through that web extension. And this is where you've got this example here, ICX to Trex and a few other tokens. And I believe you mentioned you're deploying on Wax as well. So every time you onboard or deploy on a new system, a chain, and especially a chain that doesn't have a BTP integration, you can enable swapping of assets between those chains via this DEX, which is just a add-on to, especially if we don't have BTP connected chains on there. It all of a sudden gives ICX holders a whole new, you know,
Yeah,
access to whole new chains.
yeah, it's literally just multiple options. We're just gonna have to wait and see which ones are the ones that take off the most.
Yeah.
So that's I'm excited to see that because I know it's going to be used. Now it's just I wonder what people are going to use most. Are people going to want to use BTP and have a Binance, a BNB, ICX version of BNB and just trade decentralized, or are they going to want to completely trade just with both chains involved at once? So I'm excited to see it. I think it's a really niche idea that hasn't really been explored too much in blockchain, and I'm happy that we're starting it with Icon.
And this is where it starts to really differentiate from Tron, isn't it? Like the Tron trade is basically for all the tokens on the Tron ecosystem. Tron trade is phase 1 of what you're building.
Yeah.
And then you're taking it, and phase 2 and 3 is evolving it into everything Icon stands for, from an interoperable chain, aggregator chain solution, but you're kind of creating many options in the process.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
And it goes in line with what we want to do in the future with the NFT side of things. We're launching these NFT collection on Tron, and then we can do the same thing, trade Tron NFTs with Icon NFTs and have the flexibility there.
Yep. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so Ted, I think one of the things, this was great. You shared this document with me, and as soon as I saw it, I'm like, here we go. You know, this is serious. Once I see something like this,
once you see a chart, you're like, oh,
yeah, we're getting serious here. Okay, so we've talked through all the phases. I know you're going to resubmit a bit of this because you've reworked it, and with ICX new price, and I don't want to spend too much time worrying about the budget and stuff like that. I think today's session has been great because it's given a lot of clarity as to what you're trying to build and why they're different phases and exactly what functionality per phase will be enabled. So I think, is there anything, Ted, you wanted to talk through in terms of the screens I have at the moment? I know you've captured phase 1, this particular... Is your sprints 2 or 3 weeks?
2 weeks.
Okay. So you're talking 10 weeks to deliver the first phase,
no,
which is
only 6. Sprint 5. Ideally, we're gonna be finished, and probably allowance of 1 sprint for QA. Sprint 6. So sprint 7, 8, 9, 10 is like for the phase 2 already.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I didn't want to... Anything else in terms of thing? Normally, I never go into the sprints and stuff, but I think it's really good. I know there were questions asked and things like that in CPS, and from your side, I like, when I see this stuff, I like to show it. It should be showed to the community. This is not just rogue random stuff, pitching ideas and trying to build on the fly. You guys have given it a lot of thought, planned, engage your staff, understand the costs related to it, and then presented a plan to get funding from CPS. So I thought it was a nice eye-opener to see a little bit of the work you've done in the background, Ted.
Yeah, so for this one, phase 1, we're planning to hire 2 senior engineers. So one is for Python specialist, and also one is for front end React. So the other third dev is gonna be a full stack one, so he could switch between two contexts. So maybe the Python guy needs help, maybe the front end guy needs help. So that's the target for this first phase.
Yeah.
Oh, let me interject something right here because I just remembered this is probably important now for the next CPS,
Mhm.
because we're moving into Icon 2.0, so it's Java if I'm not mistaken, right? The
Yeah,
contracts
it
are
is.
written in Java.
Yeah.
Um, so Icon actually has a program where they can take a contract and pretty much pay you to kind of I don't know exactly. They pay you to pretty much convert it for you. So we already have like
Uh-huh.
a basis of a contract to use. We want to do some updates and everything, but they'll pay you to do it. So that's not released yet to how much they're going to pay, but I've already inquired on that. And if they do pay it, it comes straight from the foundation. And if that goes through, then, if it goes through before we submit the proposal again, then obviously it'll be even less funds that we request.
Mhm.
But if it happens to get approved after, then we'll use those funds for phase two. And that's why we put everything in dollar amounts, and we will on the next official CPS. That way people understand, exactly where we're coming from. Because our goal here is just to be 100% transparent. Like, we really enjoyed building on Icon. We have more resources, so we want to be a part of the community from a building standpoint.
Mm.
We've got our own personal project with vibravid, but we've also got the ability to help other projects too. And we're in this space, and we're like really into it now. So we love getting developers and people with technology backgrounds and bringing them into this ecosystem, and providing them with jobs, and also helping those people with the visions of certain projects, like helping that come to fruition.
Yep. Actually, I was going to ask a bit about that. If you wanted to expand, and you did. Basically, you can, because of the way you set up, you can actually scale, not just for you but for anyone who's looking for different skill sets, whether it be devs, front end, UI, etc. You have the ability to kind of hire for a period of time, a couple of months,
Yeah.
2 months, based on the project length. Really, if you need someone for something to build, you should get in touch with Alex and Ted, and they can help source those resources for your project. Fair summary?
Yeah, and one difference that I want to point out, and we've already started working with one person on Icon, in regards to a project that they need. You a lot of times the problem is, we're all kind of, unless you have like VC funding and stuff, we're all limited on funding, so we want to get a good deal. So we'll try to outsource it, and people in different countries, they're kind of like just yes men, right? They're like, oh yeah, I can build it. Our advantage, and this is where I'd like to brag a little bit about Ted, is he's, I remember when I met him, he's like, I'm not a developer, I'm an engineer. So I think things through and I make sure they work.
Mm.
So when he's talking to these developers, he's kind of including his expertise in that process. So you make sure you get someone who's, when we bring someone on to work on a project, we make sure that they're doing things the right way, that they're coding optimally, and that they, actually understand the vision. And so far, everyone that Ted's brought in from to work on vibravid, they've done a great job. And like, some of them didn't know blockchain in the past, and they're picking it up very well. Right,
Mm.
Ted?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Like Gabs already know, like he's like, well, even Raf, like Raf is like, you could call him junior, but he's already like well integrated into like BTFS and the Tron stuff. And so it's
right,
just,
right.
yeah, so kudos to you, man.
Yeah, so the just to add to the difference, like, so most you see out there are developers like, hey, I want to learn React, so I know React. Then someone gives them a job in React. Yeah, I can do that. So it might technically, I mean, it might look good in the output, but if you see the code behind it, sometimes no. I won't say sometimes. It's always when you have. It's different when you have a degree of knowledge. For example, me, I graduated computer science. So computer science doesn't just revolve around React. So it has principles behind it, computer principles like programming principles. So you don't get that with self-learned developers. I'm not saying that self-learned developers are not good in the market. They're good like in developing websites and like WordPress or stuff. But if you want to build systems that are highly scalable, you have to hire engineers for it. So it's
Right.
the same with like building a house. You have to hire engineers to build your house. Like so the structure would be good. So you could add on as many decorations as you want. Or
Mm.
if you have the heavy decorations, they would advise you not to do it because it's gonna risk the structure of the
Foundation.
house. So yeah. So that's the difference. If you're gonna hire developers, you have to find that mindset where they could see the future and not technically see the future. They could plan for the future instead of just seeing the present requirements. So that's it, and that's what I want to.
Yeah,
No,
Yeah,
no.
that's the pitch right there.
No, I love it. I think one thing, as you've been talking as well, to put perspective on all of this, is what we see in the blockchain space is, there's a huge demand for devs and things. And because all the current devs who are in the blockchain space are already building, right? They're building on ETH, they're building on other ecosystems, or even on Icon, but we've captured that market. So we're trying to now kind of go, okay, there's plenty of devs out there, but they just haven't looked in the blockchain space for some reason. I don't know why. I'm baffled by this. I hear every day in Australia,
Dude.
like people, with all these qualifications and this skill set, they don't have a job. And in my head, I'm thinking, but how can't they? We're literally chasing devs and hoping devs join our ecosystem. It baffles me. So I really loved what you said about how, you made mention that they don't have blockchain experience, but then what you've done indirectly is you've kind of training them up. You've got the
yeah,
overseeing leadership to make sure quality is being built. And then you've kind of introduced a new dev into the blockchain ecosystem. So moving forward,
right.
they can get work or just keep sticking on and building because there's so much to create.
Yeah, what I usually do is like when I interview a developer, I don't interview them for their technology. Like for example, maybe it's part of the resume. Let's say for example, I want to
Hey,
hire a
don't
React
give away
developer.
your secrets, okay?
No, no, tell me. I'm
Hey,
writing.
hey, by the way, can you tell, because not everyone knows what React is, can you really briefly say what React is so they can
Yeah,
put
sure,
the
sure.
example full
So
circle?
so so React is a front end framework. So it's how we build UI. So even I think Binance is built on React. So let's say for example, if I want to hire a React developer, I'm gonna see his resume. Hey, yeah, he has React experience. That's it. Then, but if I want to hire a blockchain developer, I won't expect them to know blockchain like Icon or Ethereum because that's not very common in our country. The blockchain is more on web development. Even I think around the world, blockchain, as you said, it's a scarcity of developers. So
Mm.
you can't expect them. So what you're gonna expect them is they know the core principles of computer science. Once they have that, they can relay it to blockchain terminologies from there. So that's how I hired Gab and Raf. They don't have like zero, even me, I had zero blockchain experience, but I know computer science concept and fundamentals. So from there, I could relate to the documentations. Yeah, this may be jargon for all of you, but for interviewers out, for interviewers out there, so give them a chance that see their value on a like in the potential of the developer and how much they could absorb learning, and that's it. That's
Yeah. I
you're gonna
think
have a good from there.
I think it's great because we spend a lot of time. I know, for example, Icon DAO. They've done hackathons and things like that, which have been fantastic. And now they're spending a lot of time in universities recruiting,
Right.
right from when people are learning. And I guess this is kind of, as we've been talking, the point I've been wanting to make indirectly. This partnership and what on the side you're doing is you've got your personal project, but you've kind of seen that. Hang on, we have the ability to kind of recruit to recruit skill sets required to build things. We can't just keep building, but if other builders are there that need some resources, we can kind of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? We can manage all that component for you because it's you can recruit compared to places that are struggling to just recruit. So you can essentially recruit and train the devs the way you need it so that they can deliver on different projects in the blockchain ecosystem. Which is fantastic. And I'm glad, Alex, I won't name names, but I'm glad to hear you're already, apart from vibravid, apart from the decks, you've on the side kind of helping other teams in the Icon ecosystem with securing some resources to build components they want for their projects. And this is a call out to anyone else listening that if this has been your roadblock and you don't have capacity or you cannot recruit more because you can't find the talent, well, hit me up, hit Alex up, hit Ted up. If you hit me up, I'll direct you straight to them. But otherwise, go straight to them. But yeah, no, that's great. That's fantastic. Really appreciate. In fact, Ted, I really loved your breakdown and overview of it. It makes perfect sense. You got to get it right. You can't just have a dev start building and they haven't taken into account that planning stage to make sure it's sustainable once they start making. You don't want to get to the end and go, oh crap, I missed the main foundational bits and backtrack and have to recreate everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
that's costly.
Yeah,
That's very costly.
oh, Ted, you already know how costly it's been for us.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, you can hire someone to build something, but the blockchain space is ever changing. Like, I don't know how many times we've pivoted in our business. I can only imagine these other big businesses in blockchain and even the small startup projects. Like, you're always pivoting because the technology is changing. Whether it's for better or for worse, the number one thing that you need is people that think like there's courses on systems thinking. It's not just input output. There's so much more variables out there, and you need to hire people, or companies and startups, they need to hire people that think this way. And that's kind of another, like, just kind of a passion thing, like whether it's the highest level or entry level, like being able to connect those dots as well
Yeah,
for
love it.
for the betterment of the blockchain ecosystem.
Cool. Okay, guys, I think this has been great. Is there anything else you want to cover off that I may have missed in terms of the icon decks? Anything else?
I'll just make a quick plug-in of where we're at right now in terms of vibravid, because I know a lot of iconists are interested in what we're doing there, since that's what our CPS was. We started on the NFT portion of things, and we're launching our NFT collection. It's called Vibragoons. They are like the punks, but way more detailed, way more attributes. We have some really nice features on that, and we plan to enhance it and make it a cross-chain game for NFTs, for collectibles. So we're launching that. We also got a grant from the Wax Foundation to add him onto vibravid Wallet, similar to what we got from Icon. And that's going to open the door for BTP conversation with them. There's no protocol yet on BTP to be able to transfer NFTs, right? So this is really, really bullish if we can get these conversations going and get this done, because all of a sudden BTP won't just be to transfer, tokens and coins, but for NFTs as well. And Wax is probably, one of the top places for NFTs.
Yeah. Well, you have got in a room with Scott about this. If not, I will put you all in a room.
Yeah. I've been in touch with Scott.
Okay, good. Good. No, that's great. That's very exciting. Can't wait. I actually sorry, just been processing everything you said. I've been bugging you about a vibravid update, so I'm glad you took the time to expand on that. This NFT component. I'll tell you what, Alex, we're in the background planning a bit of a launch party for Icon 2.0. So we're pulling together everything, and I'm working with the foundation trying to create something. It's a huge milestone. Now, you've kind of hinted
Definitely.
at alpha. You've almost given me alpha, but you're not sure. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time, and then I'm going to ask you to come on as a guest. Because probably is going to be a 2-hour session where we have everyone on and get. Well, my goal is just to get the latest alpha from everyone. So I'm going to give you some timelines and get you to come on if you can, and
Hell
use
yeah, I
that to
can.
drop
Of course.
some serious alpha on us and some of these plans that you've been pivoting, and hopefully they've been verified and are feasible, and you can tell us a little bit of what is on the cards for vibravid.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be really honored and excited to do that. I always like talking. I could keep us talking forever here.
Great. Okay. Look, I think that's great. We've covered a lot today. Fantastic. Takeaways. I'm excited. I have been in the background excited about the decks. I just think I'm with you guys. I just think there should be options, and we shouldn't just think, oh, but we have an AMM. That's fine. No, it isn't.
Right.
That's the ecosystem.
AMMs are awesome. I love them. They're
Mm.
great. But people like order book exchanges. You need one in the ecosystem. That I saw it with Tron. That was a key integral part to getting more projects to grow in there. And I know it can do the same for Icon.
Yep. And I agree as well. So thank you for coming on and sharing that. I also love Ted. I really appreciated you kind of taking us through a little bit of your process and how you get things done in the background and what your skill sets bring to the ecosystem, and especially to that component when you're looking for the right people. So that was brilliant. So if you've listened to this and thought, oh, this is exactly what I need, definitely reach out to Alex and Ted. And as always, make sure everyone, not financial advice. Oh, I cannot say this enough. These sessions are really great to hear from builders and what they're building in the Icon ecosystem. So stay tuned for a new proposal for the Icon Dex. Is that the official name? Is this what we're calling it? The Icon Dex?
Man, there used to be an icon swap,
Yeah.
so we got the domain iconswap.io because it sounds cool, but I don't know. We can go icon dex, but like there's the fully dex component, and then there's the semi dex component. So in my mind, I think we should call it icon dex, like the full dex component, and
Yep.
then the semi dex component. Since it's dealing with multiple chains, maybe we use the vibravid name there, but that's we'll figure it out.
So TBA, really. We haven't landed on the name. Hell,
Just help us get what we need so we can build it. That's what's important
you know
now.
what? Get in there and start throwing some names if you have ideas. So I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Cool. No, guys, really, thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate it. As always, everyone listening, like, subscribe, share, especially if you've heard the entire podcast, which you should be, I hope so, and you've heard this building component and you know people who could utilize this is the one you want to share. Get them to listen and reach out so that we can get more people building and doing things in the Icon ecosystem. As always, like, subscribe, share. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thanks, guys, for coming on the show. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.